3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 531. Wait, 530 of the
Honestly,
DrunkNerds podcast.
I'm feeling pretty
I'm your host, as
relieved
always,
right
I'm Tyler,
now.
and joining me,
One, Niners
we have
won
the
against the
man, the
Raiders.
myth, himself.
Two,
Sir,
my computer didn't
Colonel
completely go to shit.
Gables, what's up, buddy?
We're starting a little bit later on than what we initially planned, but at the same time, we're here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we started the Skype call like
Yeah.
3 hours ago, but we've had nothing. Gables had a bunch of issues, so yeah. So but yeah, I'm the same way, man. Hey, Packers won, so I got the gear out. We're 3 for 3 in Super Bowl this year. We beat the Bears not once but twice. Then we beat Mike McCarthy and has come back to Lambeau Field. Now I'm rooting for Super Bowl number 4, and that's knocking the Vikings out of the playoffs. So. And we started today by blowing their asses
look at
out.
it this way.
They got a couple garbage
time
touchdowns
this year
in the
where the
last 5
Vikings have
minutes
been
with our
down from
backup
that
in. Other
much,
than
did
that,
not come back from behind to win.
Yeah, I know it was very weird going into
That's just how the
halftime. It's
Vikings team is.
27 to
It's
3.
like
I'm like, I don't feel good
you
about this.
see multiple
So,
teams beat on them like about 4 touchdowns or something like that, and subsequently blow it.
yeah, I mean they're 11-0 in one score games. I think they had 8 fourth quarter comebacks this year, including 2 weeks ago having the
Yep.
biggest comeback in NFL history, coming down 33-0 at halftime. So. A couple people in there, like I was celebrating a little already at halftime, but I was like trying to keep it in check. And then somebody's like, "No, they're not gonna come back." I'm like,
So
they
you
were
can
literally
never
down
count them
33
out.
points at the same point 2 weeks ago. Yes, but yeah, so they're winning. So I mean, I don't even care if I told Gables like the Niners can blow them out and blow out the Packers in the divisional round by 60 points, as long as we beat the Vikings in the playoffs. I don't care. Um, I'll call after being 4-8 and now possibly being in the playoffs. I'll call it a win. But yeah. But anyways, this is not a football podcast. This is a video game podcast where every week we get together and we talk about video gaming. So this week a little different. This week it is probably my favorite recording session of the year. One because we do podcasts in one night, so we get a week off, which is always great. But also it is our top 10 games of 2022. So this is it's crazy, Gables, our 10th time doing this.
Yes, 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be our 10th anniversary in May, but this is our 10th Game of the Year podcast session. So yeah, but before we start all of this, I did want to real fast go through and say, hey, if you're listening to this or watching this or whatever, whether it's live or later on, we always record live, typically on Saturday night, but because it's the holiday, it's a 4th of July. Jesus fucking Christ! It is the New Year's weekend. We both got Monday off, so we're recording on a Sunday, and really glad we did that because I definitely needed Saturday night. Yeah, if you're watching us now, later, listening, whatever, please like, follow, subscribe to us. We're really trying to push the YouTube channel the last year, so really appreciate it if you guys come check us out. And if you're, or if you just kind of stumble upon us, please like, follow, subscribe, 5-star reviews, comments, share with your friends. Please do all that. There's a description down below. There's links to everything: Facebook, Twitter, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, everything. So please check all those out. But Gables, let's get into I want to go through some previous winners that we have here. So I kind of went back out and got everything written down here. So like I said, we started doing this in 2013. In 2013, though, we only did a top 5 list, but every year after that, we've done a top 10 list. So I got Gables and I's games of the year for every year, and then I got an overall game of the year. That's like our points combined. I'll explain that when we get there. But Gables, since 2013, so starting in 2013, you had Pokemon X and Y. In 2014, you had Mario Kart 8. In 2015, Super Mario Maker. So 3 for 3 here on Nintendo games. Very funny. And in 2016, broke the trend with Uncharted 4. 2017, back to Nintendo, Super Mario Odyssey. 2018, first time third-party game. Actually, an indie game, Celeste. 2019, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. 2020, Persona 5 Royale. And then 2021, Guardians of the Galaxy. So pretty funny. You got one, two, three, four, five Nintendo games out of 9, and then 2 PlayStation exclusives, and then an indie and a third party. So um, mine's gonna be kind of the same, but for a different console maker. Uh,
Ah,
I have so in 2013, mine was Last of Us Part One, better previously known as Last of Us. Uh, 2014, South Park: Stick of Truth. 2015, Metal Gear Solid 5. 2016, Last
yep.
Guardian. 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn. 2018, God of War. 2019, our lone Xbox exclusive, Gears 5. 2020, Last of Us Part 2. And then 2021, Life is Strange: True Colors. So I got
Mm,
what, one, two, three, four, five PlayStation games. You got 5 Nintendo games. Pretty funny. And then I got like I think 3 third party games and then a Xbox game. So I've yet to have a Nintendo game make my number 1 overall. And then overalls. So this is every year what we do is we keep track. I give a point total for every game. So if you get if you get someone's 10 spot, you get 1 point. If you get someone's number 1 spot, you get
mm-hmm.
10 points. And then so everything in between 2 is 9, 3 is 8, so on and so forth. Um, I realized today though, or the other day when I was putting this together, that
Yeah.
I don't have, I have our top 5 written down, but I never wrote down Jake's because he's not on the podcast anymore. Jake, who was our original host that started with us, he hasn't been around for I think 2017 is when he left. But
Yep.
uh, I didn't write down his top 5 list from when I re-listened to it. So I had to re-listen to that podcast, and then I wrote down, like I said, that year when we did a top 5 list. But number 1, our overall winner for 2013, BioShock Infinite. That was very. I did not see that coming. It was the only game that was actually in all 3 of our lists. The only games that we had in
Yep.
common was you and I both had Pokemon X and Y in our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was number 4 for me, and it was number 1 for you. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, so it was. But BioShock Infinite was your number 5. It was my number 3, and then it was Jake's number 2. Uh, and
Ah.
then 2014 overall winner, Mario Kart 8. Um, it wasn't on Jake's list, but it was number 1 on yours, number 5 on mine. 2015, that was actually all 4 of us. That was when Justin joined us. Um, so this the winner wasn't on my list, but it was on your 3 guys' list. Mario Maker, Super Mario Maker. In 2015, we had Gables as your number 1, Justin's number 3,
Mm-hmm.
Jake's number 2. Um, and then in 2016, it was just the 3 of us now. It was just you, me, and
Yep.
Justin. Uncharted 4 won it. It was your number 1, Justin's number 4, and my number 3. Um, and then in 2017, Super Mario Odyssey. It was your number 1. It was Justin's number 2, and it was my number 3. There's kind of a trend here. It's pretty funny. And then 2018, it was that was the last year with Justin on it. Uh, Overall winner, shockingly, Celeste. Um,
Yep.
Gables is your number 1. It was my number 2, and it was Justin's number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So very fun. What 1, 2, 3, 4 years in a row? It landed on a 1, 2, and a 3-person spot. 2019. It was actually what's funny in 2019. This was the only game we had in common. It was your number
Yep.
3 and it was my number 2. Untitled Goose Game. Uh, Very weird. 2019 was a weird year though. 2020.
Yeah. It was.
This was on both of our lists here. It was Ghost of Tsushima. It was your number
Yep.
2, but it was my number 7. And then last year, 2021, Guardians of the Galaxy. It was Gable's number 1 and my number 2. So yeah, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, only behind Life is Strange. So yeah,
Oh, this is gonna be
yeah,
interesting then.
so it's kind of interesting with just the 2 of us now because we don't have like I said, previous years we had 3 or 4 people, and it's kind of interesting because like I said, 2019 we only had 1 game in common. I think last year we had 3 games in common. So
Yeah, that was the most that we've ever had inside of one
yeah,
initial game of the
yeah.
year
Well, I mean, like
list.
2019 was such a subjective year as far as there was just like a million eights came out that year, but there really wasn't a lot of nines. So, um, but yeah, that was our like I said, previous winners for since we're doing this. Like I said, it's our 10th year. I'm gonna pull up. I got my little black book here. No girls' phone numbers in it, but it does have all the lists from our previous years in it. And I'm gonna keep track as we go. Where's I lose? I lost my pen. I lost my fucking pen, Gables. Oh no. Oh no. Where the fuck did that pen go? Huh. Son of a bitch. Did I drop? Oh, there's a pin on the ground. There's a pin. I'm gonna reach. I'm gonna grab it with my foot. Got it. Got it. Oh, okay. Ah, whew. It'd been way easier if I just reached down and got it instead of doing all that. But you know what, Gables? I win. Laziness always wins. All right. So I'm just gonna.
Until you get the cramp.
Well, yeah. Cramp. Oh boy. Oh, this pin is not working very well for me, Gables. This is not working very
uh,
well at all. Give me a second here. I didn't write the numbers down. All right, 2, 1. All right, Gables. Well, like I said, um, so kind of the plan. What's going to happen here is Gables and I on this podcast, this one that's live right now on YouTube. Uh, It'll be up everywhere as soon as we're done. We're going to do 10 through 6 on this podcast. Depending on time, we might do um, what's the stuff? What's it called? Honorable mentions. But we'll see how
yeah.
long the podcast is going before we do all that. But typically we do it before we get to number 3. So this podcast we're going to do 10 through 6. Gables and I will alternate taking turns, and then we'll do it right after this. We're going to record a podcast, not live, and that one will just be that one will come out next week, and that'll be 5 through 1. And if we don't do honorable mentions on this one, we'll do it there. So um, that is kind of overall plan. Gables, shall we begin? All right. Would you
Yes.
like me to go first, or you want to go first?
I think for this round, I will go
Okay.
first.
Here we go.
So for number 10, I was bouncing around a couple of different times, and I
Wait.
initially came
I'm sorry. I'm
upon.
sorry. I meant to ask this before we got into this. I apologize for forgetting.
Okay, what's up?
How was it putting the list together? How'd it go for you?
Okay. Okay, so for the list in and of itself, yeah, it was kind of a little bit more difficult this time around. It pretty much had to do it because I had played through a good chunk of games. I want to say like around. I'm just doing a rough estimate right here. 3, 6, 9, 12. Apparently like around 22 or some odd new games for the
Yeah.
in
All right.
2022, ironically enough. And out of that, I was able to go forth and take out a couple of different ones that I didn't think that were going to be all that high up, you know. So there were some Game Pass games that I did not include on
Okay.
here, but because I only had a chance maybe to play them for some little bit of time and stuff. So I'm not going to see. So we're not going to be seeing things like Windjammers 2 or anything else like that, which kind of sucks. But so that leads me to pick number 10. This one is going to be Stray for the
Oh,
PS5.
okay.
All right, so it's Stray. Well, this game came by surprise for me. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, and not only because of the aspect of controlling the cat in of itself, but because of how fun it was investigating the world that was underneath, like that was pretty much like the city underground and stuff with the cat, and then like doing all the various puzzles and stuff. I really like the fact that there was like a little button where I could just go for the
Mm-hmm.
meow.
Yeah.
It was just always funny. It's just like little obscure things that cats would do that just gave you a little bit of that simple pleasure, like say kneading on the carpet or
Mm.
something like that, or scratching the couches and stuff. And they're robots anyway, so they don't really give a crap. They're like, "Oh, hey,
Was
cat."
was was pressing the meow button the most satisfying button press of the year?
Actually, it kind of felt
Mm.
like it. It absolutely did feel like it. I
Also,
mean,
best
I
trophy.
basically press that every time I pass by something or pass by like a robot or whatsoever. I just go for the
Yeah.
meow, and they would look at me either with disdain at the fact that I dropped like a whole thing of paint on the sidewalk and the dude had to
Yeah.
clean it up, or the fact that right next to like a homeless robot or something like that, and he just goes and just pets and stuff. And then like the random like sleeping on certain sections and stuff, and you can actually watch the cat as it sleeps. That was actually really
Mm-hmm.
therapeutic for some aspects. I like cats,
Be
but
cool.
the game in and of itself, it was an interesting exploration game. The city itself was rather interesting because you came across the backstories of a lot of the reasons why that the city is what it is and why there are just robots there and why there's no people in of itself. I was not expecting it to get kind of a little bit more dark towards the end of
Yeah.
it, but at the same point, there were some fun moments. I mean, the aspect where you're going through and you have this specific ability where like you're shooting lasers and all this other stuff, with a cat and stuff, and having to navigate around those little like parasites and stuff. Trying to navigate around them while doing all sorts of like big old parkour things as the cat. That was pretty
Parkour.
fun. Yeah, parkour, parkour. But when it came to the overall quality of the game, I thought it was sufficient. I did like the story, how the way it wrapped up towards the end. It was kind of a little bit like open ended to try to interpretate and stuff but it also kind of left its room for like potential a sequel or wherever and stuff because towards the end part of the game and stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be going into those heavy spoilers
Yeah.
for this for people who
Yeah.
haven't. I mean, that's just from the
Yeah.
get go. This is the game of the year stuff, so there's going to be
Yeah. That
spoiler
I'm,
stuff
I'm glad you
going
brought that
through.
up because I meant to mention that beforehand. But yeah, there will be. We'll bring it up if you want to skip ahead a little bit. But yeah, there will be. We'll try to keep it to a minimum. But yeah, there will be some spoilers here and there.
Right. So for this specific part and stuff, after you get done with the story mode and stuff, and you basically had to shut down the main computer where that AI and stuff was at and stuff, and then you exit out finally, you're able to go forth and go out and stuff. You take a little look back and stuff, and you just go and just explore the outside world or wherever and stuff. That was kind of cool. That was kind of like I said before, I knew that the whole beginning to end stuff, the cat was going to escape out, but at the same time, the the way that adventure, that journey transpired and stuff, the little side missions here, the various like mysterious elements there, to battling and stuff, and seeing all this type of like corruption in terms of like how the robots are treating the other robots and stuff because of what was programmed into them. And well, it's part of the reason why I like that game enough to include it on my top 10 list because it was one of the games that I downloaded through PlayStation Extra, so I didn't have to pay anything really. I just went through,
Yeah.
downloaded it, wanted to give it a go, and I rather ended up enjoying it. Some people have already platinumed the game. That could be something I do in the future, but at the same point, really enjoyed my time with
Yeah.
Stray.
That's cool. Yeah. Like the only thing that sucks about that platinum is like pretty much everything's fairly easy to get except for you have to like one
Yep.
of them is you have to beat the game in under 2 hours. So that one.
Oh, that could be a pain in the
Yeah, like I
ass.
mean, I
Yes.
guess if you know, like I get, I don't know, that just seems, I'd hate that. Just sounds like it'd be really upsetting if you flew through that game and you didn't get it. So, um, yeah, but I put my list together. I feel I have a pretty good system. I figured out after like doing this multiple years. I think I've done a good job of like I was about the same. I think I had like a little, it was like high teens, low 20s around there, like that were on my list initially.
Yes.
And every year I start off with, I make a for sure category. And I'm like, okay, these are the games that are for sure's. And some years I've had
Yes.
6, some years I've had 9, some years I've had 11. And I'm like, well, this is going to be really hard. So this year I did it and I had 6 on my first, no, 7 on my for sure list. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, these are my top 7 then already, and then it's just now I just gotta, out of these here I gotta grab 3 out of like the dozen or so I had left, and then I just kind of go from there. So and then have the little battles here and there, but yeah, like I feel like that's a good way for me to like just cut out a lot of time. Um, so yeah, but I'm gonna start off here. Number 10, Pokemon Violet. Um,
Ah, I had a feeling that this was going to be your number
yeah,
10.
I this game is just it's the high ceiling, high floor of moments for me this year. Like, this is the game
Right.
I've wanted since I was 7 years old. When I was fucking, when I didn't have a Pokemon Red or Blue. But my parents would always we go to Best Buy like every weekend. My parents would like buy movies and stuff. And while they're
Hmm.
going around buying movies, I literally sit there and just play the Game Boy Color and play Pokemon Red and Blue on the little demo thing. And I sit there for, 15, 20 minutes for months doing that before I got mine for Christmas. And when I was sitting there at Best Buy playing that game, this is exactly what I dreamed of I talked about when they announced this game and we did like the emergency pod afterwards. I'm like, I had tears in my eyes because I'm like, this is what I wanted since I was since 96, 97. Um, and there's so many things here where it's like, and we always give Pokemon like that kind of we grade them on a curve because like we celebrate these things that they're doing that games have been doing for like 15 years, but we get so excited when they do it, but we don't care because it's fucking Pokemon, and they, God damn it, they're allowed because it's so fucking cool. Uh, but like I love like just the open world aspect of it. Like, hey, here's three things. Here's you got Team Star, you got the Titans, and you got the gyms. Just
Hmm.
go and you go. And I love just wandering the world, catching the Pokemon, and building up my team obviously as you do, but just like wandering and then like okay, I'm just gonna walk around, go over here, go over there. And next thing you know, your Pokemon are level 16. All of a sudden, you're wandering like, oh, these guys are like level 40, and you're just getting fucking your ass whooped. Or like you find the Titan and you fight the Titan and like you're supposed to be like level 50 and you're in the 30s and stuff. Or like wandering and like I remember one of the gym battles I did, I wandered and I think it was the water gym battle, and I think he was like I can't remember the exact levels, but he was like 7, 8, 9 levels ahead of me, and just powering through and able to fight through that and win that gym battle despite being way under leveled with like my last Pokemon. I love all that. Just the auto battle stuff is just game changing. Where like just throwing a Pokeball out and your Pokemon just taking out a dozen Pokemon in seconds and getting all the
Mm.
gear, all your items and stuff like that. And like, even though you only like the XP is about half of what you would have if you would stop in battle, but it's like in the time it took him to defeat 12, I could it would have taken me if I'm in a regular battle to maybe to beat him once to beat one Pokemon. So it's like at the end I'm just still saving a bunch of time here and doing way more and less time. So it's just a matter of like they do, especially on the Switch, where it's like about like convenience, especially because it's a hand. It's also obviously also the handheld device, so it's
Right.
great. Like like it has the aspect. It's like the cool things like I liked a lot about like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey. Playing that back in the day was like this game is great, but it's also like you can see how they built it around the fact you could be playing this thing on the go. And maybe you're just playing on the train or playing on the bus or you got 20 minutes on break or something like that. Like it has that ability. Like that's what I was doing. I was playing this thing on my lunch break, and just like cool. I got 40 minutes here. I'm gonna just uh, auto battle and just gain a bunch of levels and stuff. And just I love doing all that. Um, I thought the final mission with in this game is the coolest thing that they've done with Pokemon since you found out you're like you you went up those stairs in gold and silver, and there's fucking Red staying at that top of those stairs. You got to battle Red, who was you and Red and Blue. That was like, I mean, I remember that as a kid. Like that was like one of the coolest moments in gaming to me. Um, but and this is like to me like in the Pokemon world of video games, like this is like that's second only to that moment to me. It's just like I love like going on. The music is fantastic. I made the joke of like it's almost as like they hired like the Nier Automata composer to just like, hey, can you make that but like Pokemon, and like that's what that was. I love that. Like it's crazy like some of the places that Pokemon that final mission went where I'm like, this is a kids game. What are we doing here? I mean, it's not like rated M stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is heavy for
It's
you
a
know
little bit darker than the normal like Pokemon game in terms
yeah
of the story. I'd more or less compare it to like say with the last time Pokemon actually went that type of a route in terms of they have like a little bit of a darker story for them staring their standards is black and white.
yeah
But yeah,
yeah.
continue on.
But no, it's like when they killed Mew in like the one of the movies. It's like holy shit. But yeah, like some of the shit in there is like I mean I'd say this is pretty dark for a Nintendo game. Even like I can't think of like I mean maybe some Zelda stuff got pretty dark. But yeah, like I really liked all this stuff. Like man, I was just having a great time with it. But I mean, there's obviously just like this stuff. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but this is the reason why it's number 10. It's just like the visuals, like just looking at this game, it's just kind of ugly to look at. Like I don't like. It's not visually pleasing to look at. It's just like all the jagged edges, the graphics are just awful. Like I understand they got to do this to just get this thing to run, and also in the time frame they had. The technical issues, like I know, like a lot of people, like I know Gables, you played through a good chunk of this, and
Hmm.
you pretty much had little to no issues. Major, like obviously you had no major issues, I should say, and I
I
was
really didn't have any type of major issues in regards to the technical performance and stuff. I mean, sure, the camera, if you angle it just right, you would see inside of like the geometry and like there were other aspects, the frequent pop-ins and everything else. But I did not do what you did and literally just clip through the entire environment and
Yeah,
stuff.
and get stuck and thought I'd lose my save, and then like
Oh,
getting caught on random environments and stuff like just when the game just freeze on you multiple times. So yeah, like that was, I mean, that's a big reason why. And then like some some other gripes with the game, like so I thought the legend stuff and the gym battling was also really cool. But that Team Star thing, it was kind of cool the first time, but like there's five of them I believe,
right.
and after like this, like I'd say by number three, I was like, okay, this is not very fun. Like it's not very hard, and then fighting a car, it's kind of fucking lame. I thought the story was pretty dumb, and like I'm great, and the greatness on the curve of Pokemon too. Or like I'm not comparing this to like other like big time games here. I'm comparing this in the world of Pokemon, and like I just did not I didn't really care about the like the dean of the school, and then all the battles and like learning about the history of like why these kids are in Team Star and stuff like that. And like I just didn't I yeah, after like there's five of them and like that, like I said, that first one was kind of cool. Second one was all right, it's fine. And then my third one, like I'm so done with these fucking like, these things. And then like I wish I'm totally fine with like changing the formula of like building up to the gym battles. Um, but I do not like this formula of just like move this olive into the goalpost, or find find 10 of these some floras, where the fuck they're called, throughout this world. Like I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to. Like I'm fine with changing it, but let's do something a little different. And then obviously like they always have the gimmick of every generation. I thought the terrestrializing thing was maybe one of the worst ones. I seldom used it, and when I did, I'm like I don't really see the benefit of these things. So, um, yeah, but I mean overall, like the game is still I still love this game despite all the issues. Just a matter of like I think for everybody this game will vary. It's to me it's just like it's just this I just had more issues than others, and yeah, so that's why it's number 10 for me. Like if this game would have been everything like didn't have technical issues, it would have probably been it would at least been top five, maybe top three. So, but yeah, that's my number 10, Pokemon Violet. Gables, what is your number nine?
All right, so this one should come as no surprise to anyone if, like, you've listened to our podcast long enough and stuff. And this is going to be the Witch Queen expansion of Destiny 2. It's going to be number
Okay.
9 on this list.
I was wondering when this was gonna happen. All right, cool.
In regards to the game's the expansion's quality and stuff, I thought it was definitely one of Bungie's best since like I've only had experience with like playing through Beyond Light and stuff, some bit of Forsaken, but like some bit of Shadowkeep and stuff. But in terms of an overall expansion stuff, this definitely was one of their best. If I had to give it in comparison to some of the past previous works they've done for the Destiny series, I'd say that this is definitely on par. I would say, God, one of the Destiny 1 expansions that I played back in the day in terms of good quality in that regards. But what I liked about the Witch Queen is the story was definitely a little bit different in regards to some of the past stuff. They tied in a little bit more of like Sabathun and stuff like that in her backstory, and then going through and finding out certain key story points. Like, for example, you have this other being and stuff like that that's going to be introduced with like the Lightfall expansion, I want to say the next expansion, I'll
Yeah,
just say
Lightfall.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lightfall, the next expansion of this supreme being or something like that that has enough power and influence where it convinces like entire races of creatures and stuff like that to turn on each other and this and that. And that's part of the origins of the Hive in regards to Destiny 2, where Sabathun was one of the was one of like was a part of one of the races and stuff like that that actually turned in like to the hive that we know today and stuff based upon implications of being tricked to get like a specific type of like artifact or something like that which converted all of her people into the hive. So you have aspects like that type of stuff. But what was really interesting though was like the mission structure of it. It didn't overstay its welcome. The length of it wasn't too bad. It was like maybe only I want to say like a good solid like 4 or 5 hours in terms
Hmm.
of the expansion stuff. So it was definitely palatable. The missions were actually pretty fun in terms of facing off against Hive Guardians and stuff, it had to get me like readjusted in certain parts because instead of just killing them like you would normally do and stuff for the enemies and stuff, you have to literally press R3 to grab their ghosts and stuff and just crush them and stuff, just destroy them and do this and that. The strikes that came out from this expansion wasn't too bad and stuff. Let's see. I did try out the dungeon alongside my other fire team, like teammates and stuff that we play from time to time, and they're a little bit more into it than I am, and that's just putting it lightly and stuff. I mean, there's no offense. I mean, these guys are like my former coworkers that I used to work with for quite a few years, but let's just say it this way and stuff. I mean, I for me, a low year in terms of Destiny 2 play content and stuff is like at least around 50 hours, and that's pretty much what happened with me this year to where I really wasn't really feeling it going into this year in regards to Destiny 2. Witch Queen came out, I waited a little bit, I got it when it was on sale, I played through the initial campaign and stuff, and I really did like the campaign. I really liked going against
Mhm.
Savathun and stuff and having all the other stuff. But the dungeon portion, oh man, that dungeon portion, it takes you about a good solid hour just to get through this damn thing. And that's with a team of like three, a full team of three for like the stuff. But like other dungeons pass and stuff, it's multiple tiers, so you have to go through and do this and do that. But the payoff was very good in regards to the payoff stuff. But in terms of other improvements in the Witch Queen, I really love the fact that I could upgrade this glaive. It's like a specific type of sword and gun where you could slice and dice people and stuff, but it's like almost acts like a shotgun too, to where it just has these powerful blows. You can improve certain aspects of it, but at the same time, it definitely played a good role in terms of getting past certain missions and stuff. But other than that, though, I mean, really, the only reason why it's not really higher and really much higher on this list is for one, I didn't go through the entirety of the seasons and stuff because when I did pay for the initial bundle, I did get access to the other seasons after that. But after I was initially done with my character in terms of that expansion with my Titan, I played little bits of the dungeons and stuff, finished that off. A couple strikes, finished that off. But it did not hook me as much as it would have been, say, with like Beyond Light,
Yeah.
because I know in years past, Beyond Light was a little bit higher upon my top 10 list. But when it initially came out,
Was that last year or was that 2020?
I think that was 2020. I want to say that was 2020
Yeah, it wasn't
because
last year. I'm looking at it right now.
that was the one where I spent like at least over 100 or something like that, 100 hours playing alongside with friends. But the reason why it's not higher up on the
Yeah.
list is because that Bungie restructured a lot of the PvP and a lot of like PvE events. Say like with Gambit, Gambit really isn't as fun as it once was. It's because of like little changes they made upon the structure of it. The strikes and stuff, they're fine. I mean, I liked going to the strikes and stuff, but the PvP stuff, well, PvP is PvP. I mean, I've played my good fair share of the Crucible and stuff, but there's actually so many Guardians you can come across will just equally just one shot you because of like a couple, like just one or two like weapon combos and stuff. But yeah, Witch Queen is number 9 for me.
Mm. I almost bought the. I've got all the DLC except for the last one.
Yeah.
Well, the one before light. No, not Lightfall. The one before Witch Queen.
Oh, that's Beyond Light.
Beyond Light. Yeah. So Beyond Light was number 5 on your list in 2020.
Yeah.
It was. I think everything was like 20. It was like I think Witch Queen was like $20, and I was like, man, I'm really tempted. If I bought the DLC, Gables, 'cause I really want to play it because I like playing
Okay.
it. Would you play with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course I would.
All right. Cool. Cool. Because I like playing it, but man, it's just like sometimes you just need someone to play with you. So,
Well,
um,
yeah, that's the type of game where
yeah, obviously, yeah,
if you play it yourself or something like that, you may be getting a little bit frustrated. But if you play it with someone else, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's going to be a
yeah.
little bit easier.
I just need someone to kind of like help me speed through some of this stuff. 'Cause sometimes there's a lot of grinding in that game. But all right, number 9, Gables.
Yeah.
Um, Supermassives, The Quarry. Um,
Okay.
yeah, man, this was a tough one. This one moved. This one probably moved the most um, in my list as I was going. Because like I said, when I made the list, I already had 7 in place. And this one kind of kept bouncing between 8, 9, and 10 for me. Um, but yeah, like So like Supermassive Games, I'm obviously a big fan of theirs. I've talked about it. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, like Until Dawn obviously was like the big breakout for them. Everybody knows Until Dawn is obviously big, but like I've been the one that's followed them when they moved to like they have that deal with Bandai Namco where they're making the Dark Pictures anthology with what they made Little Hope, House of Ashes, Man of Medan. I got Devil in Me. I've yet to play it. I've been waiting because like the game I was like I've talked about real fast. Usually the games come out like right before Halloween. This game didn't come out. Devil in Me didn't come out until like late the same day as Pokemon, so November 18th. And I'm like, that's concerning. A Halloween game coming out around Thanksgiving, and then the game come out with a bunch of bugs. So I'm waiting for those. But the Corey came back in June, and this is like their first like the Dark Pictures of all the games have like been more like bite size, like 3, 4, 5 hour games. This is like the first one, like Until Dawn, where that was like a full fledged like 8 hour game, and this one's about the same length. About take you obviously a little bit more, 7 to 9 hours, but somewhere in there. I think it's gonna be about 8. I remember it came out like the Friday I was going on vacation, so I'm like, this is perfect. So I played over a bunch of different nights. But I like these games. Like obviously like the choosing and then like the quick time event stuff. Like it's definitely not a thing I want. Like like I'm quick time events is not a thing I want in every game, but like I do enjoy it popping up still in games every now and again, and I definitely like in this style of game. This is the first one where I was like, this is the best game since Until Dawn. Obviously, it helps being like the first full fledged game. Like the Dark Picture anthology games are usually like $40 or so. Um, and this one being the full $70, but the first full price one. I thought one of the things this game did is like it made such a great job of like every decision being important and like the decision that you were making, like you always like to quickly pick between two options and stuff. And
Hmm.
this one like really I feel like more so, and then like and even like Telltale, like any other like game where you make decisions like Witcher, Mass Effect, Telltale games, whatever. Like usually like if I do this, it's pretty obvious what's gonna happen. If I pick A or B, like you kind of know what path it's gonna lead down. And I like this one where I felt like more so than even in previous ones. Um, like you didn't know what that result would that would lead to. Like you can see the pros and cons of both. Um, and I really like that aspect where it's like, and some like in these type of games, like what you do here, like that decision you made in hour one might not come back to bite you until bite you or help you in hour six, or sometimes it doesn't matter at all. But like I loved it. Like in some cases where like I talk about like I think I had 3 people die in my game out of 8, and
Hmm.
then with the 8 players you play as, and then there's like I think 14 characters overall. Um, but like the playable characters, I had 3 of mine die, and all 3 were based off of 50-50 choices.
Okay.
And and there's multiple other occasions where I picked the right choice, but because I picked those wrong ones, like there's one like all right, shoot? Do I shoot or do I not shoot? And I chose not to shoot, and it cost me a character in one moment. Um, and like one thing I think Supermassive Games had an issue with sometimes is like it does such a great job of building up to like the event of like when they finally introduce like the evil creature or ghost, whatever it may be. But the problem is like once they introduce them, it kind of gets like almost Scooby Doo-ish, where it's kind of goofy, and like the game kind of is great, and then it kind of not bad sometimes, but kind of like it doesn't keep going up. It just kind of starts go like slowly going down. Um, I thought this one like when they actually introduced it, and like your minor spoilers, they're werewolves basically. Um,
Mm.
but like I really liked where like that was the first time where really like they introduced like the evil that you're facing in this game, and like they're actually really good, and they felt very like they were scary. They were like out of the stress value, and like there's certain point like I loved it when like you're being chased, and I love that pressure that you get where it's like you're being chased and it's like you gotta like do the quick time events and you can't fuck up because if you fuck up they can catch you and they can kill you. I just love that pressure. It's like it's kind of like a Madden when you're in the pressure and it's like trying to go down the field and score a touchdown late in the game or late in the half, and stuff like that. Like doing a 2 minute drill or something like that. I love like kind of like gives me that same type of feeling of like that pressure. It's like every little thing I do here matters, and I cannot fuck up. But some of the reason why it's down here at number 9. One, it's been a very good year for gaming, but also like uh, I thought they had a really good cast. David Arquette was awesome in this game, but I thought the whole cast itself knew their jobs. Like they know this is like it's a video game version of like a stereotypical horror movie, uh, cheesy horror movie, like from like the 80s or 90s. But Justice Smith, this fuck, I hated him, and he is like the main, like David Arquette like kind of gets like the front and center of this game
Uh
because he's like the probably the biggest star of everybody in there, especially because coming off of Screen 5. He's kind of got a little bit of a career boost. Um, but Justice Smith is kind of like the character you play as the most or gets the most screen time in this game, and he's just Justice Smith, and he's a one note actor. He was like the guy from Pokemon Detective. He's the main character in the game. And I think he's like a Nickelodeon kid too, I think. But like, and I've seen him in a couple other movies, and he's does this weird, kind of awkward, shy talk thing, and I hate it. And he does the same thing here. As like, dude, you just kind of stick out like a sore thumb. Um, and unfortunately, he survived my whole playthrough because I wonder if I could. I almost want to do a replay of this game, but kill him as soon as possible. If it's, because I feel like I might enjoy this game more if I kill him fast. But yeah, I loved it. Like, I had a really great time with this game. My only like that like he really sucked up a lot of the fun for me. But like also the ending was just kind of like extremely underwhelming for me. And the game is tough because it's like there's like 187 I think different variations of endings you can get in this game.
okay.
So like sometimes it's just like the way it plays, it kind of be weird or fine or whatever. Like some things like they kind of build up to just never get resolved, or sometimes um, you can totally miss certain things. But I just felt like the way like it ends. But there is like there's like one kind of ending, like one thing you will for sure see no matter what, as long as one of your characters survives, you'll get to. And I thought that part just kind of like, like minor spoilers. All right, spoilers for the end of this game. Skip 30 seconds if you don't want to know. So there's one werewolf that like infects the other werewolves, and you have to kill that one to make it so everybody stops turning into werewolves. And literally, you just show up with a shotgun, and the werewolf is just sleeping in a house or a tent or something. And you just walk up, he's sleeping, and you shoot him, and that's it. That's that's how you defeat the evil. Uh, but I mean, the journey along the way is the main part of the game. But I just
Oh.
got there and I'm like that fucking blows. But yeah, that was like I hate that. And then also like the unbalanced, like I thought it was the most unbalanced. Is like the previous games like because it's you can actually play multiplayer online and couch co-op, and like they've always done a good job of like you bouncing between characters pretty evenly. And this game, like one of my favorite characters in the game, Caitlin was her name. I played as her as maybe 20 minutes. And like some characters, you like Just Smith, like I said, you play as him more than anybody. Like it's just, I would love to see the percentages because it's just way off kilter. Like I couldn't imagine if you're doing like the 8 player co-op thing, that could fucking suck for you because you can go a long
Mm.
time probably without playing, and you might play for 5 minutes and then be done. But yeah, number 9, the Quarry, Gables. What is your number 8?
Okay, this is going to be a bit of a surprise for somebody, but
Oh shit. Am I gonna be
I'm
mad?
not sure. I'm not sure about this one.
God damn it. Okay.
All right, so my number 8 is going to be Vampire Survivors. And here's the reason why.
I thought it'd
During
be
the
higher.
time that I had from when we last recorded and stuff, I had a chance to try out Vampire Survivors. And part of the reason is because I heard little bits of positive stuff around, not just for Giant Bomb, but also in terms of like other gamers in the rounds and stuff. I always would hear it mentioned or even watch a little bit of things like on Twitter, some of them people really being into this thing. I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and try this, see what it is. So at first I really didn't know. It was like, okay, I just use one button pretty much, and that's the analog stick to move from here to there. Maybe press A occasionally and stuff to pick up items or this or that. And before I knew it and stuff, I started it literally like the week around Christmas or something like that. And I had already put in like over about 15 hours.
Gables,
And
you're like 18 hours in.
no, I'm actually about 27.
Oh my god. Okay, I looked like 4 or 5 days ago, and I saw you were playing it, and I was like, oh wow. And then I looked at your time. I'm like, holy
Oh,
fuck.
oh yeah, oh yeah. If you check it now and stuff, it's
Hold on, I'm
actually
looking.
like around the. I'm over a day logged in. I think it was like a day and 3 hours, which is like about 27 or so, like around that time. Well, get it. Long story short, this game is so simple to understand. It's so simple to play that it scratches that itch as a retro gamer
27
that
hours.
I
Yep.
like. Another portion thing of I like about it is there's definitely bits of references to Castlevania, but not outwardly just saying that it's Castlevania. But a lot of the different characters you get to play as, they have an interesting like type of a variety in terms of what uses what weapon or this item or something like that. It was so fun trying to unlock a lot of the different stages. Now, granted, I have not unlocked the last stage because there's actually I feel like yes, I have beaten the final boss, but yeah, there's another boss that's even more powerful that was added towards the end, like the beta period and stuff like that for this game. That there's actually a director boss, so
Hmm.
that's something that I'm looking forward to going through unlocking and stuff. But the reason why it's so high up on this list is because this is probably one of the most fun games I've played in regards to 2022 because of how simple and how addictive it got. There was literally times where I played this game for the first like maybe 15 minutes or something like that of like I would die or something like that. Okay, well, let's see if I can try out this character, and then let's try out that character. It's like, oh, hey, I figured out how to like evolve a certain item here or there, and then it's like I unlocked different items, unlocked different characters and stuff. It kept wanting me to come back more because I was constantly being rewarded for giving things a shot, for giving things a try, for until eventually I started completing like 30-minute chunks and stuff with one character, getting to level 50 or level 80, or like I did yesterday, as I got one character up to a level 150 before I died.
Yeah. I think you're at like 120 is my max.
But it's so fun because it's like you're tasked with a character. You pick one character and stuff. You just move around. It automatically attacks like enemies and stuff based upon what weapon you're carrying. Then you collect jewels to level up, and then you're presented with choices of what you could either acquire or what you can go through and level up. And the enemies are they could be pretty fast. They could be pretty like difficult or easy based upon what you set for yourself. There are different types of power ups you can choose by collecting a whole bunch of different gold coins. And what's fun is like I've pretty much unlocked a lot of them except for like a couple of different ones. Like I just unlocked the aspect to go to reroll this type of ability because I got the little skeleton character all the way up to level 80, I think this morning in terms of one of my runs. And the reroll, basically what that ability itself does is when you're presented with the options of the three or four items, there's actually a little option where you can go, you just re-roll and get a different selection and stuff like that of they'll have the level up again. But gosh, it just scratches that itch that I've wanted to play for a while, where it's retro to a fault. It's an arcade style of game to where it's just basically get your high score, basically get your things and that and stuff. It's fairly simple to understand. Yeah, there are some aspects of it that just scream, okay, this is like a flash game and this and then that, but at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
that's what makes it so appealing too, because it's like a throwback to those days where you see a lot of flash animated games, but hardly any of them would be any good because you probably would maybe do a time spend of like about maybe a couple of minutes or maybe 5 or 10 minutes between classes or this or that and be done with it. But this one is more evolved to where it feels like a game from the past, or it feels like it is a arcade game in the best way possible because it has that type of qualities that make the game feel engaging. You're constantly being rewarded with stuff, and on top of that, you have all these different type of references and a lot of different like fourth wall breaking type of stuff. Like there was this instance to where I came across this boss, right? This big old like final that's this big old like boss around in Moon Glove. I think it's like Moon like Glove or something like that. To where I literally got to a certain extent and then all of a sudden things just started to change and then I'm warped into this this like different type of dimension or something like that. and I'm facing off against this boss,
Yeah.
and it's the end of Enders and stuff like that. It's just basically those amalgamation of like five different type of Grim Reapers that like merged into one that you have to go forth and fight and this and that. That was one of the more epic moments inside of this game. But it's it's absolutely just took me by surprise. I mean, it was like the last week or two before the end of the year, and then I end up playing this game, and it's good enough to where it's number 8 on my list.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Well, Tyler, what was your number 8?
My number 8, Gables.
Hmm.
I have one goal:
Yeah.
kill chaos. Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins.
Oh,
Um,
there you go.
this is the greatest good bad game I've ever played in my entire life. Uh, like who would ever thought we'd live in a world where Frank Sinatra and Limp Bizkit have something in common? Like what a world we live in. Um, there's
God.
so many there's so many things that are so great about this game, that are awful and also hilarious. Um, but it's so like there's so many things to make fun of about this game. But there's actually like a really good game in there as well. Like I thought the gameplay is actually really fun. It is like Dark Souls light.
Hmm.
Um, like I talked about like remember like last year we were talking about like Guardians of the Galaxy is like Final Fantasy VII remake combat light, and
Yeah.
it's kind of the same idea. Uh, it's got the difficult. It's not as difficult as Dark Souls, but it's got the combat. It's difficult, but like not in like a frustrating. It's frustrating, but it's not like in a unfair way.
Right.
But like I really like that combat system. But it's not as punishing because like lose souls stuff like that. But I thought like there's so many like the combat is really fun and engaging. Like it just makes you want to keep playing more of it. Like you have like your two teammates with you, which is weird because the game is about you have the four uh heroes, but you only it's a 3 player game, which is weird. Um, but then like like I said, the gameplay is really good. I actually like the job system, like the job system of like a lot of JRPGs, like Final Fantasy is known for. Typically I hate the job system in like JRPGs. Like what's the beyond? What the fuck's that 3DS game, the Square Enix game, where you could play 4 turns in a row.
Oh, that's
Bravely
Bravely
Default,
Default.
yeah. Like I hated the job system in that. I hated the job system in like the old school Final Fantasy games. And this one I liked it like because you can like speed up the process by like you can earn things. You can use like up. You can just spend points to upgrade things, but also like I loved it
Oh.
because you had like if you fully max it out, you can like you fully max out these two. Upgrade gave you like this other one that was really good. Like you had to like up. Like I got really addicted to just like playing system. The story makes I is so confused. I have no idea what's happening, but the moments with the characters are absolutely fucking hilarious. And what sucks is Gables. This game isn't supposed to be hilarious. They tried doing this seriously, which scares me because like I would love it if we got a sequel to this somehow. Even though I know it's an origin story, and it literally leads into one.
Hmm.
Um, I'd love if we got more of this, but the problem is like now they know it's a joke, and it just wouldn't be funny because they know it's a joke. Um, but there's just so many moments where like this game makes me fucking laugh. Like literally like when you're Jack, the main character, and you like initially you meet your other two heroes,
Yeah.
and like you don't even know each other. You literally just walk up and you like stand in front of each other, and you're like they all look at each other like you want to kill chaos. They're like yeah, and they just fist bump, and that's the beginning of the game, and then instead of like most games like you would like build the relationships throughout the game and like as you're playing the game doing missions stuff like that together. No, after you do the fist bump, it comes up on the screen goes you get a black screen. It just says 2 weeks later, and now you're on a boat and you guys are best friends. It's like you're just totally skipping character development. Like imagine if like Last of Us started like where you like Joel meets Ellie and then all of a sudden you're at the hospital. Like it just black screen. Now you're at the hospital. It's like what are we doing here? Um, yeah, baffling. And then it's just like for Jack, just like for no reason. I still don't know why I want to kill Chaos. Uh, Frank Sinatra just randomly being in the beginning of the game with My Way, um, and not even the Limp Bizkit. If you're gonna get My Way, you might get Limp Bizkit's My Way. It makes more sense for this game. Um, and then also Limp Bizkit just randomly showing up later on. But then like you meet the fourth character of your party, Sophia, and she shows up and she's like after you beat the first boss, and she's like, Chaos isn't real. He's a myth. And then just like it cuts to Jack and he just gets quiet for like 2 seconds. And he just looks at her and goes, bullshit. And he just has AirPods in and he just plays Limp Bizkit and walks away with it on his cell phone. Like this game, this game is like it's like old like English. Like everybody's like in jolly old England times with like there's king queens. People are shitting in buckets, but your characters have like skinny jeans and wear tank tops and have AirPods. What? Um, I just loved it every time like Jack would like he's just a complete dick, but I love him. Or like every time you meet the final boss of a main mission,
Uh-huh.
he just like he's like shut the fuck up, and he's just like shuts like they're like just talking and like introducing themselves and like telling them like their evil plan. He's like shut the fuck up. He just like dies at him like punches him like all the time. And then like there's like one part where like one of the guys in your team is like trying to like he's like gonna like actual some character development gonna happen here. He's gonna like kind of open up about his feelings to you, and Jack just like bumps him with the shoulder and just keeps walking, just walks away when he's trying to like tell you the shit. Like, it's so funny. It's what is happening here, uh, and this is not supposed to be the how it's supposed to go. But I just man, this game is so fucking dumb. But like the major issue of this game is like like the combat is good, but the problems are like you like the amount of loot you get is just insane. To the point where like you could spend probably 20 hours throughout the portion of this game just in the menus looking at your loot. After like hour 5, I just started hitting. I think like you hit square or something or the touchpad, and it just
Hmm.
auto did your gear to like the best stuff. Every
Oh,
like you get so much gear that literally every like 10 minutes I would stop, go to the menu, go to your gear, hit auto, and you were just constantly upgrading gear because you like it would just give you a baffling amount of fucking gear.
okay.
It's like Sonic with rings. It's just it's just everywhere. Gears falling everywhere. Um, I was thinking about this game and I was like, what does this remind me of? And it reminds me of Dragon Age 2, where
Really?
Dragon Age 2, like the big like issue with that game was like they were like rushed to get that game out in like I think like 2 years or something like that.
Yep.
And like the whole game is just you're just like a lot of side missions. Like the game is not that great. It's like it's an okay game, I guess. But like what they did to like get the game out as fast as they did is they reused a lot of assets and areas. So like all these side missions, all these main missions, you literally just keep going through the same tunnel, the same areas over and over again. And like every main mission would have like a different area. But then like all these side there would be a ton of side missions and Changes of Paradise where it would just take you back to like smaller sections of that big main mission, and that was all of the side quests. But also, the reason why it reminds me of Dragon Age 2 is because the graphics are exactly the same as 2010's Dragon Age 2.
What?
There's the game just looks bad. It looks like a mid-generation 360 game. Uh, like there, it's funny. It's hilarious that they did a performance and a quality mode, because why is it even there? Like it doesn't. You just do performance because it gives you 60 frames per second. Because the quality mode is like cool. You go for like you do performance mode. It looks like a 2010 game. You go to quality mode. It looks like a game that came out in fall 2010. It's not a major difference. Um, yeah, the game is like yes, like the combat is fun. Those characters are dumb, but like it's not enough. It's like this game is like legitimately like could take you is minimum 20 plus is 20 hours. And it got to the point where like I was doing all the side quests and I was going into the main missions under leveled. No matter what I did, I just could not get to like keep up with par. Like I was to the point where like and it just got frustrating. So like I got to like the last like maybe quarter of the game and I just put it on easy difficulty because I was just like I'm kind of just done with like it's just like I like the combat. I like the story. Like I'm just kind of here for like the story and the characters at this point because the combat's fine, but like it just got frustrating. Like I said, the combat's good enough, but it just got frustrating where it's like I am just no matter I'm replaying these same side missions over and over again. Luckily they're short, But it's like I'm replaying them over and over again to just like keep up with my level. But it's like I got tired of like I beat a main mission and had to play these side quests multiple times for a couple hours each time just get to like level up. So like just put it on the easy, beat the game. Yeah, like this game is so much fucking fun. Uh, it's so fucking funny. One of the funniest games I've ever played. Like if I had to like make a top five list of top five funniest games, it would be a slam dunk on that list. Um, I think like Jazz Punk, Guardians of the Galaxy would be in that list. Telltale's Borderlands would be in the list. I don't know what else would be in there, but yeah. My number eight, Strangers Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. But Gables, tell me about your number seven.
All right. So number 7 is going to be Pokemon Scarlet.
What? I thought this was like a battle for like I thought this would be like top three at worst.
Oh, top 3 at worst? Okay, no. In terms of Pokemon Scarlet, I did like a lot of what I did play. Granted, I do admit there's a lot of technical stuff in there that does keep it from becoming a lot better in terms of like performance wise and this and that. But there are definitely things I did like from Pokemon Scarlet, like for example, the split inside the story modes and stuff. You know, where you have the bases, you have the Titans, you have the main gym challenge and stuff. And there were aspects of it which I really did enjoy. Obviously, the Titan one, and then like the subsequential payoff and stuff after you beat the game and stuff like that. Yeah, that one was fairly surprising, and that was actually one of those moments where I'm like, holy shit, it's like you finally get to area 0, right? And then it's like you get down to that area to where you're supposed to be finding where the professor is, and along the way you're battling against these ancient Pokemon, right? Or future Pokemon, depending upon versions and stuff that you bought. And then you find out that the whole person that has been giving you information this entire time is not the professor in a sense, because it's actually an AI copy that
Yeah,
the previous professor built. And in terms of the reasoning why that the AI is doing this and doing that and stuff, I mean, not even the AI can understand why the professor and stuff wanted to go through and try to get all of these different types of Pokemon and stuff, like just pull them out of like time and stuff like that to insert them inside the main thing. Because the ramifications, obviously, for this story and stuff is like mass kind of like destruction of like an ecosystem of the Pokemon that's currently going through by having introducing all these other powerful relics and stuff or future Pokemon that's just destroy everything. But in terms of that, I mean, finding out the main professor died inside of an accident and stuff. I mean, that one definitely did like take me by surprise in that retrospect, because up until then and stuff, you don't really deal with like those type of stories and stuff. This is like these type of things are kind of like twists in certain JRPGs, but not so much inside of Pokemon. But yet with Pokemon and stuff having this, I mean, yeah, I kind of applaud Game Freak in that sense, because that was a cool, interesting element and stuff that I would not have thought was going to happen. That kind of like plot twist and stuff. But then the final battle after finding out about this and stuff, we have to battle the AI, and then like going through all this other stuff in order to try to beat the game and this and that, that was pretty awesome. That final battle, that final song in regards to that final boss theme and stuff, and then you battling against the other like Koraidon or Miraidon and stuff, because apparently there was two of them and stuff of types, the same types and stuff that you battle, one good, one evil. But in regards to the gameplay stuff, I really did like playing through Pokemon Scarlet. There was a bunch of different types of Pokemon that were introduced that were fairly fun. Like you had this little mouse family that you would come across and stuff like that. Like I forgot the name of the little things, but in terms of like you had different varieties of new types of Pokemon, from dogs to rodents to like little rats and stuff like that. The little Strudel that I encountered inside the wild. Like, it was one of those genuine moments where I went into a Pokemon game. I did not look at the entirety of the Pokedex. The only thing I looked into was the evolutions of the starters, because I've done that ever since Generation 1. I'm not going to break that tradition. And oh my gosh, that was so fun. Like discovering all these different types of Pokemon from the Flamingo and stuff to
Flamigo,
yeah, Flamigo and stuff to like
my
the
best friend.
whole the Fido into like Doxpun and stuff like that. I literally had that little dog in my entire team the whole way, Doxpun, because it's like a little freaking roly poly freaking like a pastry dog. But oh man, in terms of the other parts of the story stuff, I do admit they weren't as strong. Like the gym challenge itself felt like that there were some missed opportunities, but it was a traditional type of gym challenge like it was in past games. Only thing that was really weird that was kind of lacking and stuff is the whole thing with the champion. And like it initially felt like with champion, like the main top champion Gita, that there was something missing in regards to that overall stuff. And they do kind of hint certain aspects inside the story of like, okay, it's like the Pokemon that Gita uses and stuff like that is basically sort of like a Pokemon that's only available in Area Zero, And I mean, Nimona, your rival, your friend, and stuff like that, goes through the name drops, pretty much like just tips off. It's like, okay, this is the type of Pokemon that she used, blah blah blah, in her team, and this and that. But that was part of the main things that I didn't like about that one. And then like the bases and stuff, they were fun for the first couple times, like you were saying, Tyler. But at the same time, they really felt
Yeah.
wash, rinse, and repeat. It would have been better if they would have went with different options for each base instead of having to clear out a random wave of specific number type of things and all of a sudden beat the person's team and then that specific type of motor like Vevaroom or whatever the hell it's called in that regards. But I will say this though, this Pokemon game for Pokemon Scarlet, it's actually the first one in a while where I've actually want to go ahead and probably replay it in regards to the overall appeal of it. Like me adequately maybe wanting to buy Violet and play through it again in a different
Yeah.
type of way because it has the key aspects of what I liked about some of the previous Pokemon games. But the different monsters, the fun times I had just exploring around the different environment, and then all of a sudden just coming across random different Pokemon or different types of like items, and oh my god, all the different items you could pick up, and like the ease of use in regards to crafting your different technical machines and stuff that teach to your Pokemon. They did have a surprise trade thing. I didn't use it a hell of a lot of times and stuff with
No.
what I had, but that's how I acquired the other Sprigatito, the other starter, the Sprigatito that I used throughout my freaking thing and stuff, along with my Skeledirge and stuff. Freaking dude, freaking Coco going into Skeledirge. I love the design of that fucking crocodile, the fucking Ghost Gator. But oh my gosh, yeah, this game would have been higher on my list if not for a couple different things. Obviously, technical performance aside, if all three areas of that game were as solid as the Titan Pokemon and the way you battle against them, this
Yeah.
would definitely would have been easily within my top five, possibly my top three. But as it is right at this moment, this at times feels like an incomplete game. Not so much for the obvious reasons, but also in terms of the content, because there's different portions of the map that is still not available, even when you go through and play through. And the initial stuff that is X'd out, well, guess what? That's where Kalos is at. And so there's definitely different types of
Hmm.
hints going on that what Pokemon may do with the DLC portion of it. But yeah, Tyler, that's the closest like the DLC people are hinting at. They could be the area from X and Y.
I'd be down for that. Okay. I bought it digitally, just in case there is actually
Because inside the main story
DLC.
itself, there's actually references where Mega Evolution is kind of tied. Like there's that one area at X and Y, like that celestial sort of town, to where you have AZ's gun that he fires off and stuff to like kind of like go through and destroy that whole like kingdom or whatsoever it was with that doomsday device or whatever it is. And it looks shockingly familiar, like the terrestrialization crystals inside of Scarlet and Violet. And so there's some
Hmm.
speculation, this and that, though. But what I'm saying is, if if it had been a complete package, it definitely would have been a better experience. But number 7 on my list, I feel like that's the most appropriate things because I did feel like there were a slew other games that definitely were better than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But from what I did play through, and I did play through a good portion of it, like a good solid, I want to say 25 to maybe like 35 hours worth. I need to check the times again. But I did spend a good time, a good amount of it, and I still want to play more of Scarlet and Violet, depending upon when Nintendo goes and announces, hopefully soon. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
But what was your number 7, Tyler?
Yeah. Sorry. I will say I knew we'd have this game in common on our list, but
Yeah.
I'm shocked where it is. Combined 5 points between us. Um, yeah, it's funny. Like as frustrating as this game is, like I'm all aboard DLC, and I'll be there day one buying it if it's like, especially if it's like a full fledged like DLC too. So, but my number 7. Oh, what a number 7 this game is. What a crazy year 2022 was. TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
That's number 7 for
Number
you?
7. Yeah, Gables. This is a really good year for gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, this, like I said, when I started this list, I had 7 games on it, and this is when it really started getting really, really, really hard for me. Um, yeah, so I mean, starting off when you boot the game up for the first time, it opens with like a modern day version of the opening theme of the TV show from the cartoon from the 90s, which
Yep.
right there, top 7 game of the year. Like I could have just turned the game off right there, top 10 list for sure. Um, but it's just, I mean, for someone like me, that's just like, I love like, I love beat 'em up games, but I don't like the difficulty of like, I mean, obviously like of the day where like games are where they're built for the arcade to like take your quarters, and it's just like unfairly and frustratingly difficult. Uh, this is exactly what I want. Like I just want, like I want to be able to have fun. I want difficulty. I don't want, like, I'm not sitting there like popping on like brain dead easy mode, but I just want to be able to like, I want to challenge, but I also want to feel like it's fair. And I feel like is it Dot Emu, I believe is the name of the studios that made
Yeah.
this. Um, they made Street Rage 4, which was also both of our top 10 lists, I believe, in
Yes.
2020. Um, but yeah, like they have just found the perfect balance of what I want for a beat 'em up game in, in this era of like hey, if you want that old school difficulty, like they have that. They do have like the adventure mode thing. You can, I believe it's called adventure mode, where you can just go through. You get 3 lives. There's 16 levels. Try to survive. Then there's like the story mode that I played through, where it's like you got the open like little map area we go through, and it's almost like Mario Brothers, where you go through, you can move around, you go through all the levels. I love that you can start each level with 3 lives, and even still, I think I died in probably every level at least once. Um, but yeah, like I just love going through this game. It was so good. I beat this game in one sitting, and I think it took me about maybe a little under 2 hours, 2 hours maybe. I got all the collectibles. Really, I'm trying. I love all the like just like the touch of details of like nostalgia of like you find like the Frog Boys. And just like I love like you just walk around, you see the Foot Clan like the first level, and I believe in the newsroom, and they're like running the camera, or you go to like one where like it's a carnival, I believe it's like was like the fair or something like that, and they're like running like the stands, and like I just love like little dumb things like that. The boss fights are all really really good, and then like the final boss fights, minor spoilers, you fight Shredder in the final boss, uh, and then the fucking Wu Tang Clan just comes in the final boss fight, and like they're like the song is also describing what's happening in this boss fight. Uh, 12 out of 10 hype moment, maybe the most hype moment of the fucking year. Uh, yeah, this, like I said, this not only perfectly encapsulates what I want from these style games, because I grew up loving like Streets of Rage 2 back in the day, playing through 1, 2, and 3 over and over and over again on like the Genesis or the kid, and like they brought back Street Rage 4, so I made it not only like they brought it back, but like made like an awesome version of that, and like what I want from, like I said, like a modern day beat 'em up game. But like they did it with like TMNT, which growing up as a kid, like pre Pokemon, this was like my favorite IP in the world. Um, so yeah, like great great game. Got the fan of me. Like it did a good job of like taking care of that IP and what I loved. Like I said, perfectly captured a 90s beat 'em up and that cartoon that I loved so much growing up as a kid in 2022. So that's why that's why it's number seven. It sucks putting it at seven, but yeah, it's number seven. But it's been a really good year. But
Okay.
Gables, what's your number six?
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Gables, you want to know what my number six is?
What?
Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, this is a perfect tie-in for the for this episode, isn't there? Dude, here's the thing about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I feel like that when Nintendo started off 2022, they did the right thing in introducing this game because this is definitely unlike any other Pokemon game they had put out before it. And quite honestly, I kind of felt like they rushed out Pokemon Scarlet and Violet like too soon after they went through and released this game, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Everything about this game I ended up liking. Even like even though like the Switch is the Switch, and you see lots of little stuttering things and stuff, it's still a technically better game than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and stuff like that. But in regards to the ways you get to go through and catch a lot of different Pokemon, oh my gosh. This was the best portion of it. I mean, you go through in the Hisuian region, you pick your starter and stuff. I went with my Rowlet and stuff. Of course, you went with like another foray and stuff. Was it
um,
Cyndaquil for you?
of course, Cyndaquil. Yeah, like he's my
Okay,
boy.
but it was so fun just going around the different parts of the Hisuian region and stuff. It was just basically, hey, craft your Pokeballs, craft all these different items and stuff like that. You just go out and just catch a lot of different Pokemon to fill up this different report and stuff, and you have to capture certain bits of Pokemon in order to go forth and complete this aspects of it. It was a much more evolved form of catching them all that I was accustomed to, but at the same time, it was much more fun in that way because there was a lot of different things you could do in regards to not just catching or evolving certain Pokemon, but also in terms of like other types of traditional Pokemon battles, which there were some inside there too. But oh my gosh, just exploring around the different environments, like riding on the Hisuian like Stantler and stuff like that, like
Mm.
Weirdeer, I think it's called,
Weird ear.
or like going across like the Braviary just flying everywhere, or like the Hisuian version of like oh my gosh, not Sneasel, but it's another different type. It's like another like evolution or something like that. Another different types of like Weavile, I think it is. But I really did love not just collecting the different Pokemon, not just evolving a certain Pokemon, but also in terms of like the different types of battles. Like you get to face off against these trio of like female ninjas and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
each of them play in part a specific character from the Diamond and Pearl games. Only this is their ancestor parts. Like one of them is based upon a gym leader, the other two are based upon like Team Galactic in and of itself. But what was really interesting though is like the final initial battle, like against Arceus, and also against like the like Dialga and Palkia and doing all this other stuff. It felt more rewarding. It felt more organic. It felt something new, something different. And this was the first time we actually had a chance to go into like an open like zone type of feel and stuff and catch Pokemon just like that. Just like basically the snap of your fingers. And it felt organic and it felt good. This is the game that should have just been the entirety of 2022.
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet should have been delayed, in my personal opinion, to get things ironed out. I know the Pokemon Company has their different schedules for their anime, for their other types of Merc, all this other types of stuff. But this is the first year where I felt like a Pokemon game was overshadowed, like a mainline Pokemon game was overshadowed by another mainline Pokemon game in the same year, and it sucks because Pokemon Legends Arceus, I would have loved to bought DLC for that game if it was
Yes.
available, That was what I wanted, and instead we got a half. We not like a half baked. I wouldn't go that far. I'm not gonna go that thing. It's still my number seven game of the
Not
year.
fully baked.
Nah, it still is rough around the edges. It's still kind of rare around certain edges and stuff.
Yes.
It's cooked somewhat, but at the same time, it still needs to go into the oven for
Yeah.
another like 3 months or so.
That chicken will give you food poisoning.
Exactly the point. Whereas this is like a well done meal, in my
Mhm.
personal opinion. This is the best I felt like the Pokemon Company did with something
They put some
original.
seasoning on this bitch.
Yeah, felt like something original on top of adding in some bit of classic elements. But a single player derivative game like that, that is what I've been wanting for years. I finally have gotten that with Legends Arceus. Hopefully, with the next Nintendo system, they can go for an elaborate upon the same formula. Because, like what I was telling you, Tyler, I think I was like asking you, like in terms of, was this make a great foundation for future Pokemon games? And your answer to me at the time was yes, because of this, and that. I felt like, in the grand scheme of things, number 6 here for my list, Pokemon Legends Arceus was the foundation. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there were some aspects that improved upon the foundation, but at the same time, they weren't as refined, and they definitely need to take another evolution or two in terms of the level design in order for it to, like, kind of like evolve itself into its initial final form, so to speak. And whether
Yeah.
or not it be through DLC with that version of the game or through another consequential future release remains to be seen. But Pokemon Legends Arceus, yeah, this is definitely one of the best games of the year, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. It's so crazy that like you talk about like it, and there's been like some talk of like they always want to have a Pokemon game every quarter, or every financial year, every
Yep,
and like they had what the Gen 4 remakes in
yep,
November, and then they put this game out in January, and it's like why they put them so fast? It's like the worry was they were worried the Gen 4 like remasters were not going to be up to snuff, and then like immediately was like one of the 10 best selling Switch games so far, which is funny because a lot of people are pretty disappointed by that. And then they put out Legends Arceus, and it was the fastest selling Pokemon game ever before Scarlet and Violet. And it's like, man, like if they just had faith in Gen 4, the remasters, and yeah, like you said, put this game. If they just like like Nintendo was known for having games on the shelf for months
yep.
before, I mean, sometimes years before they put them out, um, and just were willing to like have faith in Gen 4 and put this game out in that Scarlet Violet time slot instead. Like man, like how not only a did you like kind of like swallow up two Pokemon games by and then literally after what 2 weeks after Arceus came out, you announced Scarlet and Violet and immediately overshadowed it.
Yeah, no
Um,
shit.
yeah, like man, like imagine what how much more impactful this game could have been, where like it just wasn't overshadowed as soon as it was out. Like you got a couple weeks in the limelight, and bam, hey, here's the next big thing coming this year. But yeah, like I love like I talked about like I was talking about earlier with Violet, where like I just don't like looking at it. It's just ugly. But I love looking at this, where like it was is more anime style. I love that.
The cell shadedness of it.
Yes, I love that. Like it, I thought like obviously it's got its issues being on the Switch. Like you can see like literally you can see the black lines of like from the
Right.
drawings, the jaggedness of some of the stuff. But like I thought the art style though was fantastic. Um, I the loop like the big thing about these like open world or like in this game like you have open area level like kind of style games is like how good is that loop? And I this loop the loop of this game I thought was just fantastic. Where it's like, there's even points where like, all right, I just kind of want to mainline this section and get to the next section because I've been in this area for like 7 hours now. But then it's like, you just start wandering and it's like, there's a couple Pokemon over there. I might as well take those while I'm here and like stow some Pokeballs out, catch a bunch or battle a couple of them. Oh fuck, there's a Titan or what are they? Not the Titan. I can't remember what they're called in this one, but like the ones with the red eyes. Uh, I want to fight that fucker. I
Oh
got
my gosh,
yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think of like what it
Uh,
is, but yeah, that's a special type of Pokemon with their eyes that
yeah, they're
glow red.
bigger. Yeah, and they're more powerful, and just like fighting them, you can catch them. I remember like catching a couple and they were just like way higher level than like anything I had.
Yep.
It's just like it was just so easy to like, and you're constantly getting experience points. You're constantly like, and it's just that like the hitting the little things in your brain where it's like you're constantly like things are going numbers are going up and like all your Pokemon like every Pokemon having different like 10 different levels they had to hit for like catching X amount, defeating X amount, and just like hitting that, just hitting those check marks. I loved all that. Just like said, like even after like all right, I just kind of want to get through this section to get to the next section. And it's like 3 hours later, here you are still just wandering around, fucking fighting these guys. And then like the battle system in this game is like I keep raving about this, but it's so fucking fun because like not only are the fights, the battles are so fast. Like you just jump in, like I just even like the fact you can just wander around. You can't do anything, but with your Pokemon trainer, you can just wander around and like you can just do whatever. But like I love having the whole like you can do like the speed attack or you can do the strong style with like you can do speed attack, so maybe you can like sneak in and do a quick attack real fast, or you do the strong style where it's gonna do more damage but it's gonna take a second to recover, and like you take that chance where like you do maybe like you do like the speed attack, you get a quick shot in, he does one, but then you get two attacks in a row, or maybe you can work it out, maybe you get three attacks in a row. I just love that whole. It just adds more like it added more strategy where like it's not just like and any other Pokemon game where it's just like, all right, cool. Like, I already brought a fire type out. Let me get my water type out here. Like, but it's like, not only like, yeah, obviously that's a strategy and that helps, but it's like, even still, sometimes like you might get in there and it's like, I remember going in there like, yeah, maybe I had that water type, but he had a fire type, but like, he used a strategy and he still beat me, or it was still a battle for me to win that one.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, I love that the way the whole thing worked, but like or like you're just like you get into a battle and all of a sudden two more wild Pokemon just wander in, and all of a sudden
Yep.
you're battling three Pokemon at a time. Like I
Oh
am
yeah.
in over my head. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Um, the only real complaints I have really is like I didn't like the fact that you had to like use money to like upgrade how much equipment you can hold. That was really frustrating because
Oh, I see.
I think I spent a lot of time just running back and forth to my chest to like put shit in there. Because like it got to the point where like the amount of money it took to like upgrade your how much stuff you can carry just got insane. Um, and then like I know it's a Pokemon game and the story really doesn't matter all that much. But they literally never finished the story to this game. Like
No, they don't.
like the whole story is like your character gets pulled from like modern day to like the past, and like he's literally creating the first Pokedex. Um, and like, but also you're trying to figure out how to get back to your time, and then you beat the game, and it's like all right, you get the cutscene where it's like all right, hey, we defeated like the the legendary Pokemon. We're complete. Here's we're doing the Pokedex, and that's it. That's the credits. And I remember like, okay, well maybe you have to do like because there's like post game stuff that also has
Right.
like another like there's more story stuff after that, but you have to like 100% the game to get there. So I looked up all the shit you had to do, and then I looked up like the final cutscene of the game, and they still never touched the story.
No.
They never like go back to it. It's like the whole
There's so
game.
much that's left open for interpretation.
Yeah, so like I thought for sure like after I beat the game, like oh we're for sure gonna get DLC, but
Mm-hmm.
that's still pretty shitty that we have to like do DLC to get the finality of the story. But I'm like I'm still all in. That like no, we just like luckily this like I said it's a Pokemon story, like it doesn't matter. But like man, if this was like any other game, like if like I remember like still to this day, Prince of Persia on 360 gets shit, or like Ubisoft charged $10 to get the
For the
final
ending.
for the ending of that game for DLC. It's like if this was like if any other publisher did this with a mainstream game, like we'd be like, what the fuck? But it's like it's Pokemon, so we don't care. And like I said, overall, it's whatever because it's Pokemon, but it's like still like, what are we doing here? But like yeah, like I said, the whole loop of this game, like, it's so addicting. This is like, I've talked about this over and over again, where it's like, on top of like my frustrations with Violet, this is like the biggest one because like you guys nailed this. And it's like all I wanted was like a more like the modern day in the Pokemon world version of Arceus. And it's like you got like 70% of the way there. I just need you to go that last 30. Because yeah, like you got it. Here it is. And maybe when we get that new Switch or whatever it's gonna be called, Like that will help. But like, man, or really what they need is like they need more time to make their games and probably more people to work on their games. But yeah, my number six, just like Gables,
Hmm.
Pokemon Arceus. I never would have thought that. I knew both these games would be in our top 10 list, but I never would have thought that we've each done 5 games and we've already got 2 in common, and they're both Pokemon games. Um, but yeah, so far Pokemon Arceus is our overall game of the year with 10 points. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's going to be kind of it for part one. Um, so far, Gables top 10. Number 10, Stray. Number 9, Destiny 2, Witch Queen. Number 8, Vampire Survivors. Number 7, Pokemon Scarlet. And number 6, Pokemon Arceus. My top 10 so far. Number 10, Pokemon Violet. Number 9, The Quarry. Number 8, Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Number 7, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Number 6, Pokemon Arceus. So that's what we got so far. Like I said, we were gonna record episode. We're gonna record part 2 of this immediately afterwards, but that will go out probably Saturday morning. Probably like
Right.
7 8 a.m. Central Time. 6 5 6 a.m. West Coast time. But yeah, if you like all that, you like this, you're enjoying this, please look down the description down below. You'll see show notes. In the show notes, you'll see links to our YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, Extra Life, all those things. So please like, follow, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, have yourself a fun time, everyone, and thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables,
Yep.
rest in peace, Don West.
Rest in peace.